Hey everybody, it's 8:15 on Monday, and we are about to get started. Um, as always, I'll be here to take your questions and answer any questions that you have. So, tonight we're going to talk about picky eaters. So I'm going to wait for some people to join us here and really get started with everything. Um, there. All right, you guys. I know this is a subject that I get asked. I don't necessarily think it's getting asked as much as it's just something I kind of figure out or find out with either paperwork of clients that are filling out, or hey Cindy, a little investigation of what's going on, maybe during a take-home session, something along those lines. But you guys, there's a lot of reasons that we have dogs that are picky eaters. Okay. Now, first things first, dogs are not a grazing animal, okay? Meaning they're not like a cow or a horse. They're just going to scour a field and just graze there for hours on end, just on and off and on and off. To me, having a bowl full of food lying down that you just constantly keep filled for your dog is not natural to them, okay? Now, I've heard of a breeder in the past who actually did this with their puppies. As soon as they were weaned off the mother, they actually did this technique where they just left the food down all the time, even before they're 8 weeks old. And I was astounded by that. I was astounded by, number one, that it worked, and number two, that there wasn't any problems, too, that went along with it. So who knows, maybe the dogs ended up with problems later in life, but again, it's not a natural, instinctual thing for dogs to do. And dogs are predators, okay? So when they eat, they eat. I think it's important that we look at that and go, okay, even though the dogs are domesticated, let's look at this and figure out, okay, what is it that we can do that keeps them as natural as possible, as domesticated as possible, still fulfill their instincts, and really move on in that direction from there. So, picky eater syndrome, if you want to call it, I think really stems from leaving that food dish down. I think, now, you guys, I'm not saying everything tonight. I'm not saying that this is going to be the only reason, or this is the save-all to everything at all. I'm not. I think the big part of it is that picky eating, just from leaving that food down, there's a couple things wrong with it. Number one, it doesn't provide the dog any structure. Okay. Number two, it doesn't show them actually, a feeding ritual where you're providing the food. Number three, you're also going to deal with some house training issues early on, whether you have a puppy or a rescue or something along those lines. I think you're going to end up with some problems there too. So those are some big problems to have. Because I can't tell you how many times I hear, my dog's a picky eater. I've tried all the different foods out there. And to me, that would be a natural step to take, because, okay, if my dog's not eating this food, it's got to be because he doesn't like it. Okay? So if he doesn't like it, let's try a different food. And then that's going to snowball over and over and over and over again. Okay? And then it can become a problem, because then you're going through all these foods. And I've talked to people before who have like 5 or 6 different kinds of foods in their pantry or closet or whatever for their dog, and the dog just won't eat any of it. So, as we go along, we have to look at the reasons why they can be a picky eater. One, leaving it down. They never get that full-on chance of being hungry. This is a perfect example. We've got a dog with us this week, German Shepherd, and he eats raw, so he's got a couple of raw chicken legs, some red meat as well, and he hasn't been eating everything for the first couple of days. And we've just been doing our training sessions with him and moving along with him. My third training session with him today, I played a little tennis ball, or threw a tennis ball around with him a little bit. Got him going more, breathing a little bit harder, in a good way, having a good time, very excited. Dinner time came later, and he chomped it up. So another reason for having a picky eater is maybe your dog is just bored. Okay? So you have to look at these aspects of having the food down, not having the structure of feeding times. They're not naturally grazers. They may be bored, okay? So again, a picky eater is usually a symptom of something. Now, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty of it, if you fill up that bowl every single day and just top it off, you're never truly, especially if you have more than one dog in the house, you're never truly going to be able to tell if one of your dogs hasn't been eating for a couple of days. It's going to be really hard to tell that, especially if there's like, if health-wise, if they haven't been eating, you're not going to be able to tell because you're just going to fill up the bowl. But if you fed them separate during separate feeding times, then you're going to see immediately, okay, they missed this meal. Why didn't they eat? Next meal, they missed again. Something's going on. So in one day, you can figure out that one of your dogs may not be eating everything, with structured feeding times. Free feeding, which is what we call leaving the food down, you'd never be able to tell probably within 2 days if there's something going wrong with your dog. So you guys, really what I'm stemming toward, or what I'm aiming towards here, is you've got to have set feeding times for your dogs. Now, it doesn't have to be breakfast time. It doesn't have to be dinner time. It's whatever your schedule allows. If you want to feed at 6 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock at night, that's fine. If you feed breakfast at 10 a.m. and feed dinner at 10 p.m., that's fine. Make it work for you. Make it work for your dog as well. So, going back to this picky eater thing, you provide that structure, you're going to create their system to get more regular as far as when they get hungry. It also tells them that, hey, it's time to eat, okay? This is when you eat, this is when you don't eat. Like, this food goes down for 10 or 15 minutes, and if you're not anywhere around the dish, I'm picking it up and putting it away. So you're gonna create this hunger in the dog to tell them now is the time to eat. And I think it's important to realize that. Now, if you have a picky eater and you want to transition into set feeding times, there's going to be a grace period going on, okay? To where if you're watching this tonight, tomorrow morning, actually, if you're watching this tonight and you have food laying around, pick it up and put it away or throw it away. And then in the morning, when it's time to feed them breakfast, fill the dish, put it down for about 10 or 15 minutes. And you guys, your dog's not going to know what's happening, okay? It's all brand new, so you got to give them some time. Now, if they eat the food, fantastic, you're ahead of the game. If they don't, you're going to leave it there for 10 or 15 minutes. If they're still kind of hovering around the dish, leave it there. If they're not anywhere near the dish, pick up the food and put it away. Whether it's just dry, you pour it back in the bag, or whatever you want to do with it. And then, you guys, dinner time, do the same thing again. Please don't panic if your dog goes a day without eating. It's probably actually a little better for them than you think, giving their system a chance to rest. Now, let's say your dog missed breakfast and then dinner. The next breakfast, I'm thinking they might be a little hungry then, and that's when things might start to kick in for you. If you're free feeding now, you may see a change in when they have to go to the bathroom and go outside and do their thing. So you have to be aware of that. But I would really make sure to change that into structured feeding times. All right? I think it's super important that we recognize that. And what I recognize is I think I'm competing with the Olympics tonight because I don't have I've got a couple of my regulars here, but I don't have a lot of them. And it hit me when I started this that I was competing with the Olympics, not Dancing with the Stars this go around. Emily, it has worked so well for us. We have fed signature dog food twice a day at the same time, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. every day for their whole lives. They just turned 2. They've never not eaten their meals, and they eat it relatively fast. Their digestion is on point, so glad we don't have picky eaters. Emily, that's a huge aspect. Hey, Kelly. Maine is in the house. I think it's really important to recognize that too, Emily, of how much that structure has created a routine to their system. You guys, especially springtime is around the corner. Everybody's going to get puppies. So I think it's important to have that set to where you're going to have, set feeding times and be able to create that structure that you so need. I think it's super duper important. But you guys, nutrition is always important. It's just a piece of the big picture of our lives with dogs. I think it's something that's overlooked a lot. And Rachel, holy cow, you are up late. Switzerland is around. Holy cow. They know exactly when they're supposed to eat. They remind me. Of course they do. That's routine. They're not going to remind you when the food is left down, all the time. That thought isn't even going to cross into their head. Not at all. Cindy had an 80-pound border collie. Wow. Routinely hold out for 3 or 4 days with no food at all. Wow. Made the mistake of leaving the food down for him. I changed my ways, but he never was interested in food after that unless it was chicken. Wow. Oh, Swiss girls in Canada. Ha! That would make a huge difference, Rachel. Hopefully you're on our calendar. Not calendar, our schedule. Huh, that must be... Hey, Rachel, what part of Canada are you in? You must be doing some sort of shadow program or hanging out with some friends, one or the other. That's for sure. Huh. But again, as always, you guys, I'm here to answer a couple questions for you if you have any. I just taped a new podcast with Casey Cover. It's about almost 2 hours, and I've got to do some mega editing, so it's going to take a little time, but I should get to it. And then tomorrow I'm interviewing Maylee McLaughlin from Georgia, so there's a lot going on. I sometimes have to add chicken liver or eggs to the food to interest him. All right, and that's fine. There's I don't have any problem with that, Oh, you're with Erica. No kidding. Huh. Nice. You're on the U.S. time now. That's good. So happy you're able to jump on here. Rachel, when you jumped on, I'm thinking it must be like 1 o'clock in the morning for you, 1:30. So this is good. But if you guys have any questions about nutrition, again, I'm more than happy to answer them. Again, I think I'm competing with the Olympics tonight, so we'll probably keep it somewhat short, and I may skip next week with the Olympics too, and then get rolling again. But anyways, you guys, I hope this has given you some insight into the picky eater syndrome. I think it's important, you guys, to have that structure. We want structured walks. We want structure inside the house. We got to have structured eating too. I mean, that's primal, Our bully sticks are fine. I mean, it gives them something to chew on for a while. Some dogs fly right through it. Some dogs, take their time with it too. I don't have any problem with it. I mean, it's a lot better than a rawhide from what I understand, from what I've researched and stuff. So I think it's a better choice. Let's just put it that way. But if you really want to get them something good, just get them a raw marrow bone. Something big, obviously, that they can't swallow, and just let them gnaw on it, whether you're doing it inside the crate or outside or wherever. I think it's important. Is it a bad idea to have them laying around the apartment? Yeah, I would just want set times to be able to do that. I don't want to just laying around. They can have it whenever they want to. I want to bring it out. I want to be the one that provides it to them. And then if I have to take it away, I have to take it away. Give them their time. Picky eaters can also happen if the food is too poor, in my observation. Yeah, that's true too. I mean, sometimes changing it up. Here's the other thing. You can have a picky eater with set feeding times too, right? And then it may turn into something different. You may have to look into the food, and if you feel like you're on a bad food, talk to the people at a local feed store. He hides them in his crate and then he pulls them out when he's bored. Typical dog. That's they're doing their I don't want to say, it's not hoarding. Maybe it is hoarding, where they just go kind of hide it, and it's like burying the bone and then having it for later. Not the end of the world. I mean, if you have a good dog, you don't need to worry about this kind of stuff. If you have a dog with behavioral problems, then it might be different. He does. He's a hoarder. He likes to do his thing. Yeah, it's funny. It's all a part of what they do. Yep. I mean, and that's natural too, burying the bones and that kind of stuff. So our old dog used to, even try to put it on the floor and then use her nose and try to scuff the carpet to cover it up. So so if he's got issues, I mean, the treats I'm not worried about, because you're giving him an actual time to eat. Something that they can chew on for a long period of time, I think it's different. I think it's something that you probably ought to have set times for. And that very well may be true, but in probably 11 years of business, I have not had one, in my opinion, I have not had one truly dominant dog walk through my place. I think there's a lot less out there than what we expect or think or are told, but that's completely 100% my opinion. That's just me. So yeah, squeaky balls aren't gonna, ugh. And they just get annoying too. I don't know. It just gets to be a little too much sometimes, having the squeaky balls out and the noise and everything that goes along with it, and it sounds too much like a prey animal getting killed to me. So we don't have them, and I don't suggest, you know, hunting breeds and powerful breeds and stuff. I don't suggest that they have them or have access to them at all. I hear stories about how the squeakers are ripped out of them, and it's not good, not at all. But anyways, you guys, again, picky eaters tonight. So I hope I'm the one with the 120-pound Great Dane seeking advice. Ara, where are you from, or what state are you in? So did you? Yeah, Ara, what state are you in? South Texas. Oh, yeah. That's right. We chatted before. God, I wish I knew somebody down there. Yeah. Ara, why don't we, Ara, why don't you send me a message? Let's see if, even if we figure out to do a video chat or something, maybe we can figure something out for you, unless you have a trainer. If you have a trainer, great. You know. Okay, so you're connected with them then. If you're connected with them, good. Then have at it. Good. I was hoping you had somebody. Oh, and maybe Rachel knows somebody. Ara, Rachel's a good resource here. Oh, he's going for a month. Yeah, but Rachel, she's like on the Mexican border, so it's way down there, from what I remember, I believe. Ara, that 31-day boot camp thing should have a program that you should follow at home. It's not going to be, you know, 31 days, here's your dog, best of luck. So you've got to do a lot of work to go along. You know, there's got to be an at-home program that goes along with follow-ups, and I'm sure they've got something going on there. So yeah, Rachel, I remember looking for her a couple months ago, I think, and it was, I mean, it's worth it to see Jason and stuff, but 6 lessons. Good. That's great. Perfect. I think you're on your way. Ara, I think you really are. I think you're good to go. So I wish you the best. I think you're going to get educated one way or the other, and that's most important, without a doubt. Yeah. You don't need the training, you just need the education. That's all, you guys. And look, it's different than what it used to be. You know, we grew up and our parents just had our dogs and that was it. I mean, they just took care of bad behaviors when they popped up and that was it. I mean, I had no idea there was even a I don't even know if we had dog trainers around when I was growing up. So it's a different world, that's for sure. But all right, you guys, well, look, head off and watch the Olympics. That's probably what I'm going to do. Tonight's Picky Eaters. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope there's some aspects here that you're able to grasp and hopefully put into effect. So probably skip next week. We'll be back in 2 weeks. But lots of good videos and stuff on our YouTube page and social media. Just look up Vermont Dog Trainer. All right, you guys, have a great night.